It gives me great pleasure today to announce the Department of Public Transportation's new bus schedule and recognize the collaborative efforts of the DPT and the Bermuda Industrial Union, which have resulted in this long-awaited achievement in Bermuda public transportation. Before proceeding any further, I must first recognize the efforts of my colleague and former Minister, Walter Roban. Minister Roban could not make it to this press conference. However, it must be said that his efforts were instrumental in bringing this new schedule to fruition, and I am very much thankful for his contribution. I would also like to thank the Department of Public Transportation Director, Mr. Roger Todd, and the President of the Bermuda Industrial Union, Mr. Chris Furbett. Their efforts in forging useful relationship as the DBT management and staff crafted a new bus schedule. I'm encouraged by all the work that they have done and thank everyone for their diligence in maintaining a collaborative approach that valued continued and open communications to devise a solution that benefits bus operators, the Bermuda public, and most importantly, can be sustained with our current fleet of buses. I am confident this is the best way to ensure an efficient and reliable bus service. I know that this achievement was no easy task, as change is always difficult. And so again, I extend my most sincere thanks to all at the DPT and the BIU, and look forward to the new bus schedule, which will be implemented on January 7th, 2019. 2019, yes indeed. Yeah. So now I ask Mr. Todd if he'd like to say a few words. Congratulations, Mr. Todd. Mr. Furbett, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. It is with great pleasure that I am here today to speak on the implementation of the new winter bus schedule to take effect on Monday, January the 7th, 2019. Firstly, I would like to echo Minister DeSilva's comments and extend my appreciation to the DPT management, staff, and the Bermuda Industrial Union for their collaboration in arriving at a balanced schedule that works for all parties. The new schedule is designed to temporarily reduce the number of buses required on a daily basis to a level that is sustainable, and in doing so, deliver a reliable public bus service. The new schedule has been developed with due consideration for public demand and fleet capacity. For the traveling public, the new schedule will eliminate daily cancellations related to a shortage of buses. For the DPT operations team, it will provide a more predictable and workable schedule. And for the maintenance team, it will provide better access to vehicles for repairs and preventative maintenance. The new schedule will be implemented for an initial period of 1 year while advancing several key initiatives designed to improve the condition of the fleet. Performance of the new schedule will be assessed and adjustments made as required. Some of these initiatives include enhanced fleet management program and resources, out-of-service bus repairs, 2009 series bus refurbishment project, and the 2019 new bus deliveries and multi-year fleet replenishment program. The implementation process has begun, which includes bus operators picking their new work assignments, revised dispatch instructions, and communicating the schedule changes to the public. The new schedule will be published in the coming weeks, and highlights of changes to the bus service frequency and departure times will be distributed today. In closing, I would like to thank the public for their continued support and patience throughout this process. The Department of Public Transportation remains committed to delivering a quality public bus service. I look forward to providing updates on this and other projects in the coming months. I will now invite the President of the Bermuda Industrial Union, Mr. Chris Furbett, to say a few remarks.
Thank you. First of all, let me say good morning to everyone. Certainly, it's a good day, a great day in the respect that it's been 17 years it's taken 17 years for us to revise the new bus schedule. Certainly, if I can clear up something that was said at BBC about on the news on Monday evening, in that we met 2 weeks ago and the new schedules were rejected. That was not factual, because certainly we met. I think it was on Tuesday, December the 4th. And within 6 days, we were back to have another conversation. And it's interesting because I noticed that the vote count wasn't given out about the meeting that happened on December the 4th. So certainly, I would like to say that if we're going to report the result of a meeting to the public, make sure you report the facts of what took place. Because certainly what took place on December 4th was no different than what took place on December the 10th. We invited all the operators to the meeting, so those who chose not to participate. So the vote came out pretty similar in that on December the 4th, the vote came out, I think it was 38 for, 43 against, and I think we had about 8 people abstain at the first meeting. Because the vote was so close, I had a conversation with the minister, and I thought that, instead of the matter going to arbitration, maybe we can go back and have another conversation with the workers about seeing if we can get the schedule agreed to. So we went back 6 days later. So to hear the news that we went back 2 weeks later was incorrect. Also, what was incorrect, it was said that if they couldn't agree to new rosters, it would go to arbitration and would take 2 years to resolve. I don't know where they got that 2 years from. I don't know where they got the 2 weeks from, but certainly that information was not factual. But certainly it's encouraging today to know that we work with the DPT management and the union to come up with this new bus schedule, and it's not a third party that has come up with the conditions that we're going to have to look at with the new bus schedule. Certainly the workers have agreed to look at an MOU for 12 to 18 months. And they are very concerned about that MOU. I must say it categorically. They are very concerned about it because they look at the issue of furlough days and how furlough days was supposed to be for a 19-month period. And after the 19-month period was over, let me just remind you, the Minister of Finance tried to get them to extend furlough days. So the workers are also mindful that even though they've given this MOU in good faith, the union is up to the union management to make sure they manage that process, and that's what we intend to do. So naturally, we're looking forward to working with the management with the new schedule. Thank you.
Morning.
I have a couple of quick questions, some of which are targeted to certain people, and some maybe whoever thinks it's most appropriate. Maybe Minister DeSilva to start. How were you essentially able to, in your opening speech there, pointed to your predecessor and a lot of the work that he had done in getting to this point? I'm wondering how it was that you and your predecessor were able to get to this position where so many who came before you were not, in terms of getting this new bus schedule in play?
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to stand in and say that, I'm solely responsible, and I think Minister Roban would say the same. I think it's been a long effort by many people. As the president of the union stated, it's been 17 years. So I would like to think that during that process, there were a lot of conversations that took place. I know that certainly when we took over the government in 2017, one of the things that we really wanted to do was trying to bring this to a conclusion. And I think the president certainly knew that, and most of the people in cabinet knew that, and I think Bermuda was ready for it. I mean, one of the things that really concerned me personally was not only the announcements every day that there were cancellations, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who used the bus more than anyone else. In terms of getting the children to school, in terms of getting people to work. How many people lost money because they had to catch cabs during that period? How many children were late for school? How many people were penalized because of that? So I mean, I think it's been a long-term effort, but I'm just very, very happy, as I'm sure we all are, that we've concluded now.
Now, just so I understand, the document we were given says that this is the new winter schedule, but this is going to be, in fact, the new schedule for a one-year period. Is that correct?
Well, I'll let Roger answer that. I know that we have this schedule, and then we have to start working on some other schedules too. But
yes,
I'll let
thank you, Minister.
Let him specific.
So we run a winter schedule and a summer schedule every year, and when school is in, we run the winter schedule, and when school is out, we run the summer schedule. And so we will necessarily once we implement this new winter schedule, be looking at the summer schedule to make sure that it's not more demanding than the winter schedule we've just implemented. But what you will see is a continued spirit and practice of collaboration between the DPT management, the staff, and the union. And with that, we will strike the right balance, keeping the public, our customers, in view.
So then this kicks in on the 7th, I understand?
January the 7th,
and
Monday.
When will it run until? When does the new winter schedule kind of end and the summer one start?
It will run until the summer school break.
Okay.
I believe, Ms. Christopher, you can correct me if I'm wrong, during the Easter, will we go into the summer schedule briefly?
Yes, just for the time that the students are out.
Right. So when the students are out of school, Christmas included, we go into the summer schedule, and then when they're in school, we run the winter schedule.
There is likewise talks then to update the summer schedule as well?
Exactly. Necessarily, yes.
Question for Mr. Ferber, if I could. Sure. Heard a little bit about why this new schedule is in the best interest of Mr. and Mrs. Bermuda.
Mm.
Can you talk about why the new schedule is in the best interest of your membership?
Well, let me say, I think that when we look at the overall service itself, I think for at least the better part of 10 to 15 years, and it could be maybe a little bit longer than that, the BIU has been trying to get a 35-hour work week for our members, because we currently work 37.5 hours. And certainly we believe in looking at, looking at these new rosters, it's quite possible that we can look at cutting down a lot of the spread time, a lot of the times that operators actually spend sitting around actually doing nothing, just waiting to go out on the next run. But let me also say that a lot of credit for these new bus schedules need to go to the proposal committee. And the enormous amount of work they've done over the past 17 years, and I could not stand here today without thanking them for all the work they have done and all the work they will continue to do on behalf of the members who elected them to sit and look at rosters on their behalf, and then present them to the membership.
Good morning. I guess my question will be for the minister, and I appreciate that you're the latest in a 17-year ongoing thing, but can you verify this Canadian consultant who reportedly has been paid millions over the years to come up with rosters? That took 17 years. Can you put a figure on that? And is this man still being paid?
I can tell you that he hasn't been paid millions of dollars, number one.
Has he been paid $8 million?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how long. I can get that for you, Ciola. If he's been working for 17 years and he's been making $100,000 a year, well, then you do the math. You can figure that out. But I don't know that offhand.
$1.7 million.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what would you say to your taxpayers at a time when we're looking at big deficit? We've got this kind of money for Canadian when we're talking about investment in this country.
Well, let me say this, without giving away any of my plans for tourism or transport, I would like to think that we might be able to bring some of that expertise, use the expertise we have on island.
With regard to some of the other issues along the way, we've had complaints. I know Bermuda Real has covered stories that the workers can't get new buses, but management outfitting new security cameras and redecorating offices. What's the message you're sending to your bus operators when you have insiders reportedly doing this?
Well, I'll tell you what, I had a walk around the department. I don't see where anybody's refurbishing any offices, number one. Security cameras are very important for the staff, all the staff, whether than office or operators. So that's I would think a necessary requirement. But there are the facilities themselves. Certainly, I had a good walkabout. Mechanics, the bathrooms and whatnot are in need of repair. One of the things we will be looking at is where we spend money and how we spend it, and where it's going to be most effective and efficient.
And I appreciate moving forward. You're working on the new summer schedule, and I noticed that finally we've eliminated, with regards to the West End, this Watford Bridge starting point. All buses should start and finish in Dockyard. But during the summer, you have senior citizens who have to go further west to catch a number 7 during cruise ship season to get to the hospital. It is a problem. Annually, West Enders put up with. There's no rule that says the number 7 bus should leave Dockyard half full. Locals get left on the bus stop.
Well, we have the man right here. Yeah, right, we have Roger can speak to it.
Okay, just before you go cross-sectioning with tourism, it's apparent that the cruise ships have get your bus pass on the cruise ships. They get off the cruise ship and walk straight across many buses and so forth. That's a big part of the problem with regards to West Enders trying to get a bus out of Somerset. What do you plan to do to get other forms of transportation advertised on that little tube when they're sailing to Bermuda that tells them the only way they can get around is a bus?
Well, you'd be happy to know, Ciola, that during my short time in office, I've met with the Minibus Association, taxis, also have a great relationship with the unions. We're going to be looking at everything with regard to transportation because we are looking at increasing the numbers up in Dockyard in terms of tourist arrivals as well as air arrivals. So we're going to need everyone to be part of the process going forward with regard to transportation for not only our tourists but for our locals too.
So to the West Enders who've been stranded for 17 years, what do you say to them?
I think Roger can speak to that. Okay.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Wilson and others. So what this new schedule will do will give us a bit of breathing room. Right now we are committing to an 88 bus schedule currently before the change. And we're sustaining about 55 to 60 buses in service. So you're waking up in the morning canceling. And the commitment is to deliver that published schedule because that's what the public expects. So it doesn't matter whether there's a run that's very inefficient, you have to deliver that schedule. What this schedule will do, because it takes away some of that inefficiency, it will give us the flexibility that as we grow the fleet back, and certainly by the summer we will be in a better position, we will have additional capacity. So if there is a particular route and a particular time coming out of the West End where we know we're inundated with tourists, we can lay on additional lift to make sure we're servicing the public. So I'm really excited about the flexibility that this new schedule is going to give us.